Alright, guys, so here's a goddamn curveball for everyone. Let's travel to Serbia. But first, let's have something to lighten the mood, because this is one goddamn messed up movie. Alright, now that you'll be humming that shit the rest of this podcast. A Serbian film from 2010. Now, JT, why the hell out of nowhere are you watching a Serbian film? Well, if you saw my video on Takashi Miike's audition, I was talking about how, especially young horror fans, like when we start off watching like very young, we kind of gravitate eventually towards finding out what the sickest movies are in the horror genre, what the most just disturbing films are, and I mentioned this as one of the few examples. So it was in my head, and I haven't seen this movie in forever, man. Like, this is not a film that I look forward to watching or want to watch, so I don't know why I'm doing it, but whatever. So this film, I will put this little warning here. I do have a conscience, despite what it may seem. And the reason I decided to do this as a podcast and not a video is mostly just because of the subject matter, and I didn't want even my face on screen, just if I end up smirking or laughing at some dark, disturbing shit. As usual, but thought this was the best way to do it. Plus, I'm watching on my laptop. So, for anyone who hasn't seen a Serbian film or heard of a Serbian film, congratulations. Because this is one screwed up movie, man. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the director's name, the actors' names, anything like that. You guys know me with foreign names. I can do the Japanese thing. It's a lot of Yamamura, and I can figure that out. The Serbian shit? Here, let's try it. Serjan Spasojevic is the director here. So, if I butchered that, so be it. The basic synopsis for this movie, I'll just read it off IMDb. An aging porn star agrees to participate in an art film in order to make a clean break from the business, only to discover that he has been drafted into making a pedophilia and necrophilia-based porn film. Yeah. So that's the premise here. There's some real messed up things in this movie, so trigger warning, and I've never done this on a video, but this is a fucked up film. This film deals with rape, it deals with pedophilia, it deals with necrophilia, it deals with grotesque violence and dismemberment of human beings. Like, this is a very disturbing film. So if any of those topics trigger anybody, just click off the video and, go listen to Hamster Dance a little bit more. Just a little trivia here I was reading up on before turning this on. So this film's only been banned in 7 countries. I would have guessed a lot more than that. It's the second of only 2 films to receive an R20 plus rating in Japan, the other being Grotesque from 2009. And that's not the first time we hear grotesque here. The film was also banned in Norway for sexual representation of children and extreme violence in a fictional medium. It's one of the few films banned in the country since Ichi the Killer, with Takashi Miike, and Grotesque from 2009. I could see it. I could see Grotesque. I mean, I know that movie's been banned in a lot of countries too. And only a few countries have issued a rating for the uncut film. Like, most other countries have substantial cuts to the movie or ban the film outright. So that's the type of movie. Now, there is an infamous scene for people who have seen this. Again, trigger warnings here, but where a rape scene happens involving a newborn infant. Which, I don't know what's up with these sick Serbs over there. If you're watching from Serbia, you're not one of the sick ones. You're cool. But unless you worked on this movie in some way, then you're a sick Serbian guy. Or woman. But man, like, this movie is just... This is a film that you watch and you'll never forget it. But you'll wish that you could. You wish and pray that you could forget this movie. So let's watch and talk a Serbian film. Of course, the goddamn main character's name is Miloš. So we open up with a porno with Miloš, the main character, his wife. I don't remember her. I haven't seen this movie, like I said. It's so long. It has to be over a decade. Has to be. The only reason I remember anything from this movie is just because of how disturbing some of the scenes are and stuff. But who cares what her name is? And they have a son, Peter. See, that's an easy one. Seems a little out of place. Miloš, whatever the hell her name is, and then just Peter. Whatever, cool. So Peter starts the film off watching one of his dad's pornos because he's a retired porn star, and there's tits, and he's fucking this woman up against a motorcycle, and the son's watching his father fucking this woman on TV. It's bizarre. The mother says to the son, Peter, when he asks, what was dad doing on the video? He says, no, nothing. He was just playing with a girlfriend. Like, it's like cartoons for adults. That's a great line. And then Miloš proceeds to just turn the porn back on and watch himself. Now, like with all films, I have to give this movie its props in certain departments. You would think, just from hearing about this movie, if you've never seen it, that this is just some trashy made film. It's really not. Like, from a technical standpoint, this is a very well made film. Like, the cinematography looks good, the sound design's great, the editing's good, the gore, I remember, is great. Decent, very good stuff in here. You just have to sit through all the insane shit that happens. And is it worth it? I don't know. Oh, the wife's name is Maria. It's just spelt different, with a J and shit. Who knows, Serbians? So then Miloš ends up meeting this porn star who is talking him into coming out of retirement here to be his last project in the industry and work on this art film, which he has no clue what the hell he's in for. Are you serious? Oh, what this guy goes through. And does himself. But she's like talking to a woman like, I'm sure she's just blowing smoke up his ass trying to get him into this project. But she's saying, like, you weren't just a porn star, you were an artist. Like, every girl who worked with you wanted to marry you. Like, blowing smoke up his ass for sure. So she convinces Miloš to join this art film project. And pretty much the only reason he really is taking it is because they're really hard off on money. Like, they mentioned that they need money to pay for lessons of some sort for their son, so like they're tight on cash. And she's telling him, like, you'll be set, like, doing this film, you'll be set until you're like the rest of your son's life. So again, bullshit from her, but I mean, Miloš ain't that smart, so a weird fucking family, man. I'm sorry. And they're putting Peter to bed, and he starts saying, and again, they're explaining to him the porno that he saw earlier. And he said it was just a video of Daddy when he was younger. And he starts saying, but like, I felt something strange when I was watching it. And he's like, down there by my willy. It starts explaining that he had his first boner and shit. Like, it's this, and the mom and dad are there, both, and they're... It's so weird. Like, instead of reading a bedtime story or something normal, this is what they talk about before they tuck their son in. I'm sure it doesn't have to be said at this point, but there's a lot of fucking in this movie. So he ends up fucking some girl? I mean, is that his wife? Who knows? This isn't a film like that. You're really paying attention to the story, but he ends up like forcefully having sex with her. Like she's into it, but like it's kind of like rape. It's weird. So that happens. Then he ends up going to this location where they're going to be shooting this film. As for the whole commentary here from the guy who's in charge of this whole production about pornography being an art form, I could see where it's coming from. I mean, there's for sure some very tasteful, artsy type porn films, so I can see his argument there, but it just feels like forced social commentary in here. Yeah, the cinematography is very good in this film. And the same with the sound design, same with the score is pretty decent. So pretty much all the technical aspects of this movie is very well done. Now, they don't do a great job of exploring the dynamic between Miloš and his son Peter to set up what is one of the most disturbing endings of the film for me, man. But they don't ignore it completely. Like, there's a scene or two of him just hanging out with his son and bonding, so they do show it. I feel like they could have delved more into that. But, I mean, they knew when they made this and shot this film that it doesn't matter how you develop these characters, it's still going to shock the shit out of you as soon as you reach the end, no matter if you know these characters at all or not. So he has his first day of shooting, and the first thing he has to shoot is he's with some girl, and then she goes down on him, and then he basically just, like, face fucks her. Like, it doesn't seem like she's into it or anything, but this is the film they're making, I guess. Alright, it's kind of hilarious when the weird dude who visited Miloš's wife earlier, I think he has something for her, who knows, but he was jerking off in their bathroom, and, like, a while ago, he has a scene where he's watching the TV and then Miloš's porn comes on, but like he's getting blown by this chick and he's watching home videos and it's someone's birthday, and on the TV while he's getting his dick sucked, the person on the TV is saying blow harder, like at the candles. That's funny. Alright, this scene is not funny or anything. This scene is so fucked up. So he's in this room, this dark lit room, and there's this young girl who's watching him while he's forcefully orally raping this woman who she's definitely not into it. Like, this is rape. And this guy, and then she bites his dick, which this guy don't scream bloody murder. Like, come on, man, that's so stupid. And then this guy comes up behind him and puts him in a chokehold and says, hit the whore. And he starts punching her in the face while she's still biting his dick, or then he comes on her face. And you see it all. Like, and the girl's getting off while she's watching this younger. It's so bizarre. It's so disturbing. Let's move on. And then the director comes out. He's like, bravo, it was excellent. Oh, man. And then he ends up punching the dude who put him in the chokehold and walks out. And the director's like, yo, Miloš, what's going on? And he's like, and it's funny how he phrases this. He says, I'm not doing this. He's like, I'm not beating women in front of children or on cameras. As if he's fine with beating them off camera, not in front of children, but whatever, funny line. Actually, they do a better job of the father-son dynamic than I remember. Like, there are some more scenes than I recalled. Like, he has a dream that he's doing a shoot, and the beat-up girl from earlier is on the floor, and his son's there, like, saying, like, tear it up, Dad, and, like, all this weird shit. So, like, and then there's another scene of him, like, at home. So they do a decent job with exploring the relationship between him and his son and why he's putting up with doing this, and until he's trapped and like he has no choice, which is coming up real soon. So then this is just so messed up, I don't even want to talk about it. If you ever wanted to see in your horror a woman giving birth, like right on camera, blood, disgusting, all that great stuff, you get it here. And then something no one wants on camera is the guy, after delivering this baby, ends up pulling his pants down. You don't see anything. They use a doll for this infant baby, newborn baby. And you just hear the baby crying as this guy is having sex with this infant. That happens. It's fucked up. Miloš walks out and he's like having a breakdown. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, what? And now he has like really no way out. Oh man, this is messed up too. The gore is great. Everything else is so disturbing. He's just like drugged by like one of the women there at the shoot, and he ends up getting on this bed and starts fucking this girl from behind, and she's handcuffed to the bed. Then they're all cheering him on and saying beat her and stuff. He starts beating the shit out of her back and everything while he's fucking her, and then grabs a machete, or he's handed a machete or some shit, and he just smacks her down in the neck and proceeds to cut her head off and continues having sex with her while the blood's spurting out of her neck hole and she has no head left, and the people filming have to come grab him and pull him out of her. It's so... Oh, God, why did I pick this movie? So, just when Miloš has had it, he sees a tape that they're blackmailing him with, that he was raped by some guy in the middle of the night when he was drugged after that whole crazy scene that I just talked about. So... Man, this movie is so insane. Then, what's her name? Alicia, something like that? The girl who talked him into doing this. She's voicing, like, concern about Miloš and stuff. And that she's having doubt to bring him into this and everything. Which, yeah, are you kidding me? Like, any normal human being with a conscience would have never brought anyone into this or be involved in this world at all. But she's on camera, like, talking with the director, and then the next clip that he sees is her being brutally raped in the mouth and suffocated with his penis. So she's out of the picture now. And then just the ending, man. This is probably the most messed up ending in a film that I've seen. Miloš is drugged and he's brought back into this place, and I don't know what they're drugging him with. They're drugging him with something that makes him aggressive and, like, very sexually aggressive, like he, in a trance almost, like he doesn't realize what he's doing or, like, how aggressive he's being. It's weird. But whatever it is they're drugging him with, he ends up walking into this room, and there's two naked bodies on a table with, like, a tarp over their heads. And he comes in and he starts having sex with one of them, like, aggressively. And then a guy in a mask shows up, and it turns out being his friend from earlier who jerked off in the bathroom and has a thing for his wife. He shows up and starts having sex with the other one. And then Miloš ends up taking the sack off the person's head, and it's his wife getting raped by the guy. And then he takes the sack off his person, and it's his son. He was raping his own son. Dude, are you kidding me? And then the two of them, Miloš and the wife, end up killing everybody. They start bashing people's heads in. She rips this guy's throat out. The gore looks great, but it's not worth it. Then he ends up taking his erect dick and ends up stabbing the guy who had sex with the infant earlier through the eye socket. Killing him. And then they decide that they don't want to live anymore, like, dealing with all this, and I don't blame them. So then the final scene is Miloš, he kills all three of them. He fires a fatal shot through all of them. And then the bald dude who works for this organization, the shady shit, whatever it is, shows up with some other people, and they're dead in bed. And one of the people says to somebody else, start with the little one. And it ends. So, that's a Serbian film. If anything, the only reason I picked this was because I plan on talking about every movie in the horror genre eventually over the years, no matter what it is. And this way, it's out of the way. and I don't have to watch this film like ever again, or at least in another 10, 15 years. What a sick movie. What sick minds were behind this film. And, I feel dirty. I feel like I need a shower. But that's a Serbian film. Apparently, it's a Serbian film. Apparently, there's many more. This has been a Horror After Dark podcast in the sack with JT.